Welcome, Cancer, to your Uranus Kazimi 1 year forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. For the first time in 78 years this month, the sun in Gemini combines with Uranus in an absolutely perfect conjunction. They're unified, creating a Kazimi, where the power, the radiance, and the magnitude of the sun is applied in a positive way to the energies of Uranus. Newly arrived for you in your 12th house. But what does it mean from a purely Cancerian viewpoint? I'm going to share with you on screen the event chart from that, but also how all the other planetary influences inform the event and what you can expect over the next 12 months in terms of your energy, work, relationships, and finances. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundel. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. But please also click or tap the bell notification symbol. So on the screen, there's the Sun and Uranus in that conjunction. Let's just think of a few of the themes. So the sign of Gemini is an air sign. It's logical, can be a little detached and cool, but it's certainly about quick wits. Uranus is the planet which pushes us to get in touch with our higher purpose. And over the next 7 years, he's asking you to become much more aware of the spiritual and psychological dimension of your situation and anything to do with healing. But Mercury, the ruler of the sign of Gemini, is also in residence. So that adds an extra Gemini dimension. But it's just worth saying that Uranus is the higher octave ruler of Mercury. So this energy here, the 12th house, a very kind of Piscean vibe, but much more logical because of the host being airy. So how will this play out for you? Uranus can be about sudden change. It can be disruptive. It can certainly push us to liberate ourselves from anything that's proven to be oppressive, particularly the 12th house. That could be where we feel a bit trapped or isolated or alone. But the energy of Mercury in the mix is very much about communication. And of course, because it is the sign of the messenger, the more that you can discuss these sensitive issues that this combination may arouse, but particularly over the next year, the better it's going to be for you. Unfortunately, Saturn, the planet of structure, but also of wisdom, is forging a very strong link with Mercury. So if you started talking to someone who had a lot of experience and knowledge uh, that could help in any way to support or enable you to grow and gain more confidence around this part of life, then that person could end up being a key figure over the next year. But Neptune, the planet very much to do with dreams, but also to do with healing, is the most northerly player in your chart and also forging a fantastic angle to these guys. So if you want to break out and do something different and fresh, very Gemini like, but it does mean perhaps separating from something that has worked well in the past, that could be a process which feels a little bit challenging. But Neptune here is asking you to have faith in what you're doing. If that feels right for you, particularly around your work, you want to work, for example, helping people, maybe in a psychological dimension. You've always thought about becoming a counselor or perhaps working in a support center or in a big institution behind the scenes, but a job that gives you a lot of flexibility, very Gemini like. These aspects can be very helpful indeed. But what about the two players that are in your zodiac sign? You happen to have both the planets of fortune with you on this event. Venus in your sign can certainly give you extra confidence about your personal appearance, which you may have looked to change over the last few days, but it is in a stunning alliance to Mars. And that could mean that your connections within your network or a friendship with someone could see some kind of spark of attraction play out over the next 12 months. But because of the 12th house energy of the sun, Uranus about freedom and space, and also perhaps uncoupling from something that isn't working, and Mercury all in this deep 12th house, might it be that you'll be developing a relationship or understanding in a low-key, even confidential and private way? So that's entirely possible. Jupiter, however, has been in your sign since the start of June last year, didn't get off to the best of starts. It's going to be blessed now between the time it leaves your sign at the end of June. So these are saying to you, have the confidence to recast your identity or do something that's different and fresh, but it may mean, therefore, letting go of something you have been involved with. So that's quite intriguing. Now, if you are really drawn to the psychological healing or dimension, the links between the Sun and Uranus and Pluto are also very strong indeed, because Pluto, despite being in its retrograde now through to the 16th of October, is really urging you to evolve around the things that you have been perhaps attached to. That can be money, it can be relationships, it could be a particular way of being. So liberation, but a very psychological level, but working through the conduit of discussion and thinking is very strong on this event. But what about your ruler? The moon is in your second house, asking you to be conscious of your life foundations and security, but it is in the very warm, affectionate Leo. But what did catch my eye is that we have Venus in that first house in a square with Neptune. And ironically, if I just take you back to 1948, at that point, Venus was in your sign still, in a conjunction with Mercury, but in a square with Neptune then, but on the opposite side of the heavens. So that's intriguing that that square played out all those years ago. But back to this year, what I feel that this can do is, if you are trying to do something that's more creative and more self-expressive, it could actually be very dynamic for you and very successful. But it may also require you to divine who you can really align with in a trustworthy way. Because Venus square Neptune can see us distorting our reality a little bit. So whether it is about your qualities and identity and what you've got to offer, your talents, or it is a relationship, just be conscious that that can be magical, but also in some ways confusing. We also have Mars, the planet of drive and passion, in the very steady Taurus, in a very potent clash with Pluto. So if you are doing something at the moment that you're not enjoying, part of what can unfold is, if you do want to step back and separate from something you're not enjoying, but it is something that gives you a financial income at the moment, but someone you're connected to doesn't get what your rationale is, it could cause a very stubborn standoff and all the way to being an outright power battle. But maybe that battle will be within yourself, because the opportunity to continue as you are now with Saturn in that 10th house, work very hard as far as attaining greater success, recognition, potentially status, is there for the next 2 years. But if you're not really enjoying what you're doing, what I feel this set of three players could be about is actually decoupling from what isn't giving you the satisfaction. And Mars and Venus are kind of saying to you, believe in what you feel really aligned with, the 11th house values, your desires, who you link with. Trust that the qualities and talents you've got will work, even if it means letting go of something you have at the present time. Now, I'm going to summarize those four areas of energy, work, relationships, and finances shortly. But just to say, you can download your free Uranus factoid, all about the astronomy, the mythology, and the astrology, including Uranus in each of the 12 zodiac signs and each of the 12 houses. Please see below for more. I've slashed the price of my personal horoscope reports. It's now 3 for the price of 1. The one you pay for is your life roadmap report, which helps us to understand the patterns that are played out in our lives so far, but get a more intimate understanding of them and how we can work better with those energies future forwards. The free charts is your 12-month transit forecast, totally unique to each person, but also your draconic soul analysis. So that's 3 for the price of 1. Please see below for more. I've been doing this full-time for 30 years, but I first became interested in astrology when I was 14. I really want to share about natal astrology to as many people as possible. So, if you've yet to watch my deep dive of moon magic for May, which goes into each of the 5 lunations of the month, please see that on the screen. If you've yet to watch your monthly general forecast for May, that's on the screen as well. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, it would be an absolute pleasure. Please check out my testimonials below. And also, have you taken advantage of my free daily horoscope? Fire to your device each morning, get your early day celestial pit stop for your ascendant, your sun, your moon, whoever you want to read it for. Please see below for more. Now that summary. So when it comes to your professional situation, Cancer, having Neptune right at the top of your chart means that if you are doing something that's inherently artistic, creative, self-expressive, anything to do with the arts, photography, film, your own channel, if you're projecting in some ways outwards, Neptune can be absolutely fabulous if you're prepared to communicate some subtle messages, as he links so well with the Sun and Uranus. However, equally with Venus in your sign in that square with Neptune, whatever you need to do needs to be workable. But that's where Mercury's sextile to Saturn can help to slow things down and help you to go through the process in a step-by-step way. But this does suggest maybe doing some research behind the scenes. Now, having the 2 planets of fortune in your sign for on this particular return is definitely very helpful. But what I would say is the combination of the Sun and Uranus are in a T-square with the North and South node. So the discussions you have, you need to stay in touch with your instincts, which come from the North node, not deny the logic, but also understand that even logic can be invested into our psychological insights. So I think you're going to gain a great deal of deeper understanding about who you are, who others are, and what your needs and true motives are. As far as your love life, if you are footloose and fancy free, expect lots of admirers to be beaten a path to your door. There could even be someone through your friendship circle that you develop almost a little bit of an obsession with Mars in that square with Pluto. Will it be a clandestine relationship, or will it be one you just want to keep close to your chest? Will it be that you're actually going to separate from something that's no longer working for you with this collective in the 12th house? All of that is possible. As far as finance is concerned, I feel that the having Venus and Jupiter in your own sign kind of points towards if you are able to do things on your own terms, you're much more likely to get the money you need in the way that you want. But if you've got people to think about dependence, and maybe you don't have the liberty of being a bit more free spirited, Saturn suggests that you're going to have to keep grinding away at your day job. But these guys are saying, what can you learn, what you can bring into your world that's fresh and different, that could help you going forwards to actually earn more money in a different way. As far as your energy is concerned, I think there will be times this year when you could feel a little drained and on edge. So getting plenty of rest will be important. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure being with you. Look forward to seeing you again soon.